Good evening. I'm Harry Keeling on behalf of Alaska Public Media, the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation. Welcome to Hangar Flying. We've got Dr. Petra Illig back on our program. She shared with us some very interesting facts about sleep apnea and the emphasis that the FAA has on that. I hope you've been able to listen in on those programs. Tonight we're going to talk about something I think you'll find really fascinating, and that is some of Petra's thoughts on the German wings tragedy. Dr. Illig, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Would you share with our audience some of the ideas? I know, let's start with the role of the AME, or not, in this whole thing.
Well, I think a lot of the current focus, and this is going to evolve with more observations, more details coming out over time, and it's going to change our thinking, I think, as we get more information. But the current concept is that, you know, maybe the AME should have a deeper role in determining a pilot's mental health. I always tell all my pilots, it doesn't matter because you got to be crazy to want to fly anyway. but that's really, I think, putting an undue burden on an individual who only has the opportunity to see a person for, you know, 30 or 45 minutes every 6 months, 1 year, or every 2 years, or with private pilots every 5 years. In my experience, you know, there are people who do come in that very rarely, but, you know, raise the hair on the back of your head a little bit, and you think, oh, you know, and what do you do about those cases? Sometimes those cases, they weed themselves out simply because of their legal history. Many people with mental issues have, you know, long rap sheets. And so that's a graceful way for the AME to say, I can't issue, but, you know, let the FAA deal with you. But there's also other people where that isn't the case, where there's no overt acts yet to demonstrate their mental instability. And so I think in the world of aviation, it really takes all of us. It takes the people in the flight schools, it takes the people who are training, it takes the people who's doing the biannual flight, we don't call them BFRs anymore, but anyway, it takes the company that's hiring this individual, it takes, you know, the community, the family, it takes the physicians who are caring for this person outside. And in addition to that, though, there are also cultural differences. I mean, could this have happened in the United States? In my opinion, less likely, first of all, because operationally we don't allow only one pilot in you know, a Part 135, am I getting that right? 135 operation to be absent, you know, that there's always somebody else. So I think, you know, to put the focus on the AME and ratcheting up psychological exams and psychological profiles and requiring more mental health evaluation isn't really the answer, in my opinion, because it's just not possible.
It's just unrealistic.
It's unrealistic.
You know, the term occurred to me, socialization, and what you've talked before about is here's a guy with 600 hours of time, and there's a socialization process with the crews that he flies with or should have flown with, and all of the elements that a 1,500-hour pilot or a 3,000-hour pilot would probably be exposed to, that this fellow was probably not exposed to.
Possibly not, too, because operationally, you know, pilot training is different in Germany than it is here. You can join Lufthansa without a pilot's license and be trained up and stay within that culture. It's a huge airline. Yeah, there's lots of people involved, but if you complex that with the operational situation where you can have one pilot in the cockpit, those are like Swiss cheese model issues lined up, right? And in our country, it's a little bit different. It's, you know, most people don't start out with a major airline. They have to put in their time. You know, with smaller airlines, regional airlines, they have a much larger milieu of people that they work with, and many of these people get weeded out. Yep. As, you know, they go up in ranks and larger aircraft and hire larger airlines to hire them. And
of course, after the Colgan air disaster, you know, the rules changed. I mean, you got to have 1,500 hours to be a co-pilot in this country now. Well, I don't know this, but it wouldn't surprise me if those European airlines have changed that one. It's okay to have one person in the cockpit rule.
That's an easy thing to change, and I think they would be crazy not to all of them change it. And whether or not it's that way in Asian airline industry as well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I suspect that's going to be, operationally not possible.
Yeah.
But the other issues about, mental health and stability, there really aren't any tests that can be applied. Yes, you can apply tests to determine whether or not a person has a lot of anxiety or a lot of depression. But that really isn't the kind of individual that would cause these kinds of accidents. By any measure, about 12 to 15% of the general population suffers from depression or anxiety, and pilots are only a subset of that. Yeah. But these aren't people they may be people who go and commit suicide, but they don't commit murder. And so it's people with another component of mental health issues which are very difficult to measure, and that's the personality disorder, the sociopathic person. These are people who look and act perfectly normal. They don't hallucinate. They don't, but they have built-in personality disorders that allows them in certain circumstances to do something like this.
Yeah. Well, Petra, we've run out of time. Here's what I would like to do. Maybe let's revisit this in 6 months or a year and see what
shakes out.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the program. It's always
my
a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's program. Until next time, fly safe.